am going to be your nurse today. What's your name?
Sean,
And how old are you, Sean?
14.
Alright, I have down that you're here for a cardiac and a peripheral vascular assessment. Does that sound okay?
Yeah.
Alright, so basically I'm going to be doing a bunch of looking, touching, and listening. It doesn't mean that anything is wrong. I just want to be very thorough. Do you have any questions? Okay, so we're going to begin with your upper extremities. Hold these out. I'm looking to make sure that they're symmetrical. Your skin is nice and warm. You have equal hair distribution throughout. Alrighty, I'm going to go ahead and get you to squeeze my fingers. Okay, alright. And I'm also going to feel your radial pulses and your brachial pulses. Alrighty. And now we're going to move to your neck. I'm going to look at your carotid arteries. Can you hold your head up straight? Alright. I'm looking for any bumps, bruises, or pulsations. Don't see any. Alrighty. And then I'm going to assess your carotid arteries one at a time, not so that I don't obstruct any blood flow. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and listen to your arteries with the belt or the small side of my stethoscope. Alrighty, and now I'm going to move on to your chest. I'm going to, can you do that straight for me? I'm going to go ahead and palpate what's going to be your valves in your heart, and I'm going to tell you what they are as I move to them. So in your second intercostal space right here, that is your aortic valve. And then over here to the right, in your your left intercostal space, that is your aortic valve. No, that's your pulmonic valve. Sorry. And then your third intercostal space on the left sternal border is your Erb's point. And then your fourth intercostal space on your left sternal border is your tricuspid valve, and then in your fifth intercostal space in your midclavicular line, that is your mitral valve, which is actually where you would palpate for the apical pulse as well. Now I'm going to go ahead and listen to those valves that I just palpated, and I'm going to tell you which ones they are as I go. This is your aortic, pulmonic, Erb's point, tricuspid, and mitral. Alrighty, now let me get you to lay down for me. On your back, please. Alrighty, so the first thing I'm going to do is check your neck for any jugular vein distension. Head flat. Your head's lifted. Okay, so I'm going to get you to look that way first. And there's nothing present. Okay, and then I'm going to get you to look the other way. And again, nothing present. You can relax and look forward. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on your pericardium, which is the area around your heart. I'm looking for any lumps, bumps, bruises, or pulsations. I don't see any. And now I'm going to palpate those same areas where those valves are. So your aortic, pulmonic, Erb's point, tricuspid, and mitral. Okay, and then now I'm going to go ahead and listen to them as well. So we have your aortic, your pulmonic, Erb's point, tricuspid, and mitral. And let me go ahead and get you to roll onto your left side. Alrighty, and this is your left lateral fifth intercostal space, midclavicular line, at that mitral valve. Okay, so you can go ahead and lay flat again for me. I'm going to move on to your lower extremities. I'm going to begin with inspection, making sure there's no lumps, bumps, bruises, or pulsations. I'm checking your hair distribution. Your hair is evenly distributed throughout. Your skin is warm and dry. I don't feel any type of edema throughout your legs, and I don't see any signs of any varicose veins. I'm now going to palpate your pulses. So in your groin right here, it's going to be your femoral. Behind your knee is your popliteal. Inside your ankles is your posterior tibial pulse, and then at the tip of your toes on top of your feet, that is your dorsalis pedis pulse. You can go ahead and sit up. All right, Sean, that concludes your assessment. Do you have any questions? All right, have a good day. I'm giving a report on a 14-year-old male who came in for a cardiac and peripheral vascular assessment. We began with his upper extremities. They were symmetrical bilaterally, and hair distribution was equal bilaterally throughout the upper extremities. His skin was dry and warm. There were no lumps, bumps, bruises, or pulsations noted. We then palpated his radial and brachial pulses. His grip strength was equal bilaterally. We then moved on to his carotid arteries. Both carotid arteries were palpated one at a time, and they were also auscultated. Both sides were equal bilaterally. No murmurs or thrills noted. We then moved down to his heart, where we palpated and named all of his heart valves. We began with the aortic valve, then pulmonic, Erb's point, tricuspid, as well as his mitral. No thrills or murmurs noted. We then auscultated the valves as well. Again, no thrills or murmurs noted. We then moved on to check for any jugular vein distension. He was negative for any symptoms of jugular vein distension. We then moved on to his chest and inspected the pericardium. There were no lumps, bumps, or bruises noted. We then palpated those valvular areas again. There was no tenderness throughout the palpations. We then auscultated those valvular points again, as well as his apical pulse, and it was present. S3 and S4 heart sounds were noted. We then moved on to his lower extremities. His lower extremities were symmetrical and had equal hair distribution throughout. He was negative for any signs of edema. There were no signs of any varicose veins. His skin was warm and dry. We palpated his pulses within his lower extremities, his femoral pulse, his popliteal pulse, his posterior tibial pulse, as well as his dorsalis pedis pulse. No murmurs or thrills noted, and all pulses were equal bilaterally.